Welcome back to Open Studio. I am Steve Leahy. This is it. It's the final episode. Holy roly, we made it. Okay, so before we get going, or as we get going, we're gonna have to jump back a little bit in time to when I got the wood for this frame because I didn't show this live when we were doing it, but I want to get you guys all caught up before we put it all together. Okay, so what I ended up doing was I ended up finding this Japanese cedar and I found this wonderful piece of wood. Cedar is a pretty soft wood, so it was kind of interesting to work with. I'm used to working with really harder wood, but this was nice. So I had to get a plank of it, a board of it, which was fine. And so the first order of business was to cut off the piece that I was going to need for the frame. The frames for these paintings are all the same size, so it's pretty easy. I just had to cut the longest length. And because it was so soft, I did it by hand because I wanted to. And that's what I came out with for this one. The next job was to cut the width of the frame. So this I did on the table saw because I wanted a really, really nice clean cut. And so that's how this worked out. So I took that one piece and then I just kind of cut off the right sides. And what you'll notice on this is you're looking at the face of the frame. So you have that really nice long grain. The other thing I did was I cut these pieces from what you're looking at as the top of the plank because the inside, the heart of the cedar is this nice orangey red color. And then as you get out to that outside of it, you get that really pale white, which would have been great. But I had more of the orange color, so I wanted to keep it all the same with that. And then finally, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of get a feel for what this was going to look like. So this is really the first time that I've had the painting and the framing wood at the same time. So just kind of stacked them up like Lincoln logs, grabbed the jar of Tokyo stone and kind of took a second and looked at everything. And it was at this point that I realized that everything was going to be just fine with this. This is an interesting time because, you're pulling a bunch of elements together that are more the storytelling part of it than maybe necessarily were color matched. But to see all these elements start to come together, that oranginess of the wood versus that tan of the stone, and then the overall gray of the painting, and I knew I was going to have a little bit of gold accent in there too. It just really, really really made me happy. This is also the point where I could have said, okay, things are really working well together. I have to come up with a different plan, but we really lucked out. So the next job was to cut the miters and glue it all together, and to cut out the back and stuff. But I didn't have a shot of that, but yeah, that's more woodworking than painting anyway. So let us move on. Now, what I epically failed at was showing you guys how I crush up the stone and put it on the backdrop. But basically, it's not super exciting. Um, literally take a hammer and, just go to town on whatever stone I happen to have, and that crushes it up. I try to crush it up to about the size of like around double the size of a grain of rice is the biggest piece, but usually smaller. About the grain of rice is a good size for backdrops. It depends, but that seems to be the average. And then what I do is I tape the edges and of the front of the board, and then I put a bunch of carpenter's glue because it's very strong and dries clear, and just spread the sand and stone all over it and let it sit there for 24 hours, and then it's good to go. So what you're looking at right now is the back of the frame. And on the back of the frame, I decided to use French cleats to hang this painting. So it's a little bit different than what I usually do with the wire. So this is kind of a neat thing, and I'll talk a little bit about this in a few minutes as we finish this up. So what you see here is just me kind of making sure that those French cleats are going to be level, and yeah, getting a little bit of tape on there to line them up and drill in the holes. So that's that part. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the French cleats on, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler here, which you may or may not pick up when we finish this up and I put it together. These cleats are on upside down. So if you try to hang the painting this way, the painting will fall on the ground. But you'll see them corrected in a minute. Fortunately, all it meant was just turning those little aluminum plates around. You also see a little security thing on the back too, the bottom. I'll go over that too when we get there. But that is how the back looks right now. Really super clean and everything is rolling. And here we are with the front of the back piece, front of the back piece, something like that. One thing you're going to notice is that my hands are doing things other than what my voice is going to be doing because someone forgot to turn on the microphone while I was recording this. So yeah, what could go wrong? Anyway, I'm talking about the stone here and how it lays in there, and then the block is just a piece of MDF, and that is glued on before I actually put the sand on. So that's kind of what's going on there. You could see the edges, the nice clean edges. That is where I was talking about how the tape was on there. And so you basically put the tape down first and then you kind of go nuts. So this is the back of the frame, the back piece. The only addition now is that I've oiled the back. So it's got a tung oil finish on the back too. So that's really good. One of the important things I keep checking over and over again, you'll see me flipping this thing around, is where the top and the bottom is because it does make a difference. And yeah, so this is the back panel for the painting. It's a piece of 040 aluminum. Again, it has a top and a bottom. And what I've done is I've gold leafed around the edge of this thing to make it look all fancy. So the panel itself that I'm painting on is an 060 piece, and this is 040, so it's a little bit thinner. What I'm doing is I'm just making sure that all the gold leaf, the loose gold leaf is off. So just running around the outside edge here with my fingers just to make sure that any loose pieces of gold aren't gonna kind of come off when I'm putting it all together. And it's also powder coated, so it's nice. The gold leaf has a really nice surface to kind of adhere to. I also didn't do much on that, how to gold leaf that, but that's another one. And there's your final painting, and that's got the UVLS gloss clear on it, and it's not very glossy, so which is nice. These panels come with a protective sheet over what should be the front of the sheet. So they're often used in sign making and things like that, actually in all kinds of different things. So they put this piece of plastic on one side to keep it all nice and pristine, but I work on the other side. So I work on the back side and it's sanded and prepped and all that fun stuff so that when I get to this point, I can pull the protective sheet off and that back side of the painting is now absolutely perfect. It's pristine, which is really cool. So I like that. Just a little bonus. All right, so this gets centered right on the middle of the panel. And what I use for this is a double stick tape. Uh, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of lining it up, making sure everything is good. So for the double stick tape for this, normally I use VHB tape, which is made by 3M. Uh, I don't know what I'm talking about now. This is seriously what could go wrong. But it's something profound. It's something that, you'll be sorry you missed. So sorry about that. Um, yeah, so anyway, back to the tape. There's the Scotch tape that I'm using right now. This is just double stick Scotch foam tape, which is great, and it works really well. The idea behind using foam tape is that it's reversible. So if I ever need to take this painting apart and get this off the back panel, it's very easy to just kind of slip something behind the painting and cut the foam, and then it comes apart. The adhesive is extremely strong. But the foam tape allows it to be reversible, which is really important. Again, from a conservative point of view, from a conservation point of view, it's really good. So yeah, I've been using this stuff because I did run out of the 3M tape, which I'll probably pull this all apart and put the VHB tape on once I get it. The VHB tape is just stronger than this. This is really strong, the stuff here. Um, but this is Scotch High Bond foam tape. And for this, I'm putting two pieces on. Again, you want it to hold really well, but you don't want it to be, I don't want it to be like impossible to get off. I don't want to have to damage the painting to get this off. So two pieces is perfect because you have a real nice smooth surface on the powder coating on both sides, the back of the painting and the front of this panel. So that bond is really, really strong. And then from there, it's just kind of lining this up by eye. I like to do that because sometimes I like to push it a little bit up because of the shadow that you see because of the separation between the two panels. So I usually do this all by eye. Um, get that tape off there. There we go. And the way I usually do it is just kind of float it above I don't know, another profound thing that I'm saying that I don't know. It's good though, whatever it is. I promise. Oh, I know what I was doing. The magnets down at the bottom were blocking my hands from lining it up, so I'm gonna put the panel directly on the easel board, the Visionaire board. So I'm just gonna grab a couple pieces of tape and stick it right to the board. That way I can get rid of those magnets. Now I remember. It's not like I recorded this hours ago either. I literally just recorded this. Here we go. Yeah, now I'm talking about the thickness of the panel. So it's 040, 040. There we go. And now I can move around. It should be a little bit easier to stick this on there. All right, line it up. Oh, and I dropped it on there. Just kind of line it up by eye. And what I do is I kind of let one side go down a little bit so I can still move it around after it's down. So as long as I don't push down on the front of the painting, I can kind of cheat it left or right or up and down. You can see that happening right there. So the more it sits on there, though, the more it's not going to move. But again, if something went catastrophically wrong, I could um, pull that off. Now this is me adding that pressure to the tape that's underneath, and this really bonds that thing on there now. So it's on there. And again, what I could do is if I had to take these apart, it's pretty easy. I usually use a guitar string, and then I think I do this with my hands to show you, but I grab a little guitar string, a really thin guitar string, and you can pass it behind the panel, and then kind of break the foam, and then flip it. There we go, the guitar string. Here we go. Start at the top, kind of shimmy it down, and then it just breaks the foam, but without damaging anything, and then you just peel off the tape. You're ready to go again. So it's a really neat way to do it. Again, with that other VHB tape, the gray VHB tape, be careful with that because that isn't the same. It's really the plastic is very gummy and you can't separate them. It's designed to be almost permanent, or it is designed to be permanent. All right, so there it is. And there's that little relief that the foam gives you too, which is nice. It gives you a little bit of extra, which is good. All right, so there's the backing. French cleats on there. Back is on there. And the rest of it is this part here, attaching the painting to the back, is similar. You just apply the foam tape on the block. That's an MDF block, and then it just sticks to the painting. Again, it's really easy to get that off without damaging anything too. There are different ways to do this. You can put tape on the painting to line it up. You just kind of spread tape on the vertical and the horizontal. But for me, it's a lot of visual. I like to kind of see it. And sometimes if you do all the math and oh, this is what I'm doing now is I'm just making sure none of the little bits and pieces of stone are going to fall off. Because even though this is glued and cleared, little bits of the stone really fall off. So I'd rather it fall off now instead of fall off when everything's together. So I'll bang it on stuff and be rough with it because I want that problem to happen now. All right, so that looks pretty good. And what I was going to do with this, I was going to kind of show you how I measure it all out, but in this case, because I can see the edge line on the clear part of the wood, the non-gluey part of the wood on both sides. Um, I thought that, instead if I do all the measurements, it might not sit just perfectly because, of irregularities in the way that I taped it together. So I was about to start measuring it out. And what I would normally do is measure out the panel, then measure out the full panel in the back. So measure out the painting, measure out the panel, subtract the painting from the panel, and then that will give me divide that in half, and that'll give me from edge of the panel to the painting. And then I could put tape down there and get it really exact. But again, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, it feels like there's a little bit more on this side anyway. So if I really line it up perfectly measure-wise, it might not look good. So I decided to just kind of go by my eye with this, which is always the way to do it because it doesn't matter what the measurements are, it matters what it looks like. All right, so for the backdrop, this is MDF and it's a kind of a fiber board, so I'm putting a lot more tape on this. I'm not worried about it sticking to the aluminum panel well. I'm worried about it sticking to that piece of wood right there. So using larger tape for this. And again, it's all removable. In fact, with this, if I were to just kind of get my fingers underneath the painting and pry it, it'll pull the wood off before it pulls the foam or the adhesive off. So that's why I'm going a little bit crazy with the foam tape on this. Plus here, it's the back of the painting, that gold leaf panel attached to the MDF. So those are not the painting. So really, if something got damaged there, that's okay. That can be fixed. We just want to be real careful with the painting and what's attached to the painting. All right. So, oh, that even freaked me out twice. Same deal here. So what I'm doing is I'm holding it above. I'm not touching the foam. And then when I got it right, when it looks good, I let the top of the painting touch the foam. That'll still give me a little bit of a chance. You see it kind of stuck there, a little bit too much. So I'm going to reset and do it again. Line it up, just hovering above the foam. And then once it looks good, I drop the top of it down. That'll still let me adjust the painting. And once that looks right, which it didn't, do it one more time. I think one more time. However many more times it has to happen to be right. There we go. Yay. So when you pull out the glove, there we go. When we pull out the glove, I know I got it right. And the same thing, you apply pressure to really make that adhesive stick. Obviously, I'm using the glove so I don't get any finger oil on the painting. And that's ready to go. All right, so let's get the frame put together. So here is the frame, how it came out with the foam inserts. They hold the glass in. You can see the museum glass there. There is a top and a bottom to this too. And here you go, there's the top. And that's just so everything lines up as far as the back, so the holes and everything. Once you drill the holes, they could be slightly off, and if you don't know what the top is or anything, it could, kind of throw things off. So one last check to make sure all little bits and pieces are done and sandwich it together. It's all been pre-fit, so it's ready to go. And then again, from a conservation point, this is very easy to take apart. There are only 4 screws that hold the back in, but they do hold it really securely. That back is a piece of just finished board. It's pretty nice. And again, I've pre-drilled all the holes before as I made the frame, so those are all lined up. They use 4 small screws, and just gonna line it up. You can see how there's some play in the back of the frame as I kind of shifted it over to get the holes to line up. That's why I mark everything and pre-drill everything, because when I lined up the French cleats, I had the whole frame put together even though the painting wasn't in it. That way I knew that the French cleats were going to be totally level, because if I kind of just have the back and then put the French cleats on and then drill the holes for the back, something might shift a little bit, and it's bad. So I like to have it all together. This back piece is also pretty soft, so you don't have to over tighten these things. They just hold everything together, and because there are 4 of them, it really holds them secure. So you just kind of snug them up, and they are ready to go. So again, I've gone as much as 6 to 8 screws in the back, but that's really overkill. 4 hold it together very, very well. And again, from a conservation point of view, it's super easy to open this frame up. Just take out those screws and it all opens up. And this is how it all looks. Pretty fun. So I'm going to back you guys out at the end of the video so you can see the whole thing. But I just wanted to kind of give you a little quick preview. I'm going to have to do a serious inspection before it finally gets done. That's just to make sure everything's, seated and everything looks good and everything's lined up. But so far, so good. I'm happy. There's nothing that really stands out for this one, which is great. So let's move the camera out so you can see the whole thing. And here it is. That's your painting right there. It's great. Well, you can now with the light right on it, you can see the that satinness of the tung oil. It's just such a nice finish on this wood, and then you can kind of get a feel for the museum glass there and the gold leaf and how that all plays off one another. It's making me pretty happy about everything right now. Everything looks good. It looks lined up. Um, just about ready to go. Yeah. It's nice at this point not seeing anything like crazy that needs to be like addressed, which is, it happens, but this time I think we lucked out. So let's talk a little bit about the back of this and how this hanging system and the security system work on this painting. Yeah, the French cleat and the little locks are great. Okay, so the back of this painting has cleats on it. And cleats have been used for a long, long time. They're often used to hang heavier works, but they work really well in this instance, and I'll show you why. So basically what I was worried about with this piece and what I want to start doing with these pieces, because they are very small, they're security-wise, they're a risk. So if you put these paintings in a public place, someone can pull them off the wall and put them in their jacket, and it's difficult to stop that from happening. So I wanted a method that will really secure this to the wall without being intrusive. There are a lot of different security methods that smaller works use, but I really love this one. So the first part of it is the cleats. You can use these, I mean, they're not just security, you can use these on just about everything. Again, they're usually used for larger pieces, large heavy pieces that need to distribute the weight, but they do sell them really small. And the way a cleat works is really simple. So you have one side, oops, there we go. Actually, let me switch cameras here. There we go. So you have one side that attaches to the work, and then you have another side that attaches to the wall. And then they simply, all you do once you get it hooked up or set up, the painting just slides into the track and it just holds the painting in place. And I'm going to show you how this works for real. So that's the idea. So I've got these, actually let me switch back here. So I've got these guys on here, they're ready to go. And what I did was, for you guys, oops, let me grab another magnet here so make sure this guy doesn't move around on us. Perfect. So what I've included, or what I'm going to include with these paintings, is a little hanging guide. This little piece of acetate is the same size as the painting, and there are holes cut in it. Those show you the placement of the cleats up the top, and it has another hole down the bottom, which I'll explain in a minute. Plus, I've also shown the center line of this painting. So if you're hanging it, say you're hanging in a museum setting where you wanted the middle of that painting to be at 58 inches, that makes it really easy. You literally just walk up to the wall, tape this, find out where you want this, level it, tape it to the wall, and then you can drill all your holes, because you have to put in your cleats. So I've done it here on this fake wall right here. Ooh, this one's not really straight, but it'll still work. These have a little bit of play in them too. Once you screw them in, you can actually, before you tighten them, which I already did, where is, I don't know if it's going to work. There's a jumbo screwdriver, might not work. A little bit. This is the old-timey screwdriver that I use for my Vision Air. All right, so if they're loose, you can kind of move them around and level them, make sure they're perfect. So that's that part. And then the last part is this little guy down here, this little T-bar. I have one knot in the wall here. So it's a little T right here, and it's got a big old thread on it. Okay, so with the French cleats, they go on the top. Like, should have lined up. There we go. And then the bottom, T-bar goes in there. So that goes in the little holder in the back, and then you take your super secret tool, reach behind there, and you give this a turn, 1/4 turn. And now, get this painting to stay up by itself. There we go. And now this painting is attached to the wall. You can't get this off without ruining the frame or ruining the wall. It is on there. And that's how that works. It's pretty darn cool. And you know what's nice is too with the cleats and everything set up, as soon as you like level the cleats on the wall, this painting is perfectly level. You don't have to mess with it or do anything weird. Okay, so that's it. We have gotten to the end, but before we get with the final thank yous and everything, I want to share something with you guys. So it's a little video that I put together, and it's something that I hope you will really enjoy. So let's take a look. So what did you think? That's every title screen, every individual shot from the entire series in one little time-lapse video. You guys have been here for all of it, and I cannot thank you guys enough. These paintings are a tractor pull for me, and I had such a blast having someone with me when I did it. You guys have been amazing. So this is how it all came out. I hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you know someone who might enjoy it as well, pass it on. That'd be great. It helps to keep the channel going and keeps us growing and all that fun stuff. Of course, if you'd like to be a financial supporter of the site, I would very much appreciate that too. You could do what these lovely people have done, and you get early access to the time-lapse videos every week, and you get a 10% discount on my website. All right, this is the last time. So for Steve Leahy and Through Lachlan's Eyes, I can't thank you guys enough. Thanks for coming along with the journey, and I can't wait for the next open studio. Have a great one. Thanks.